In the first session, we heard a lot of really good ideas about how many of you are using prompts. Some personal, some work, but we shared that within the group of 12 or 15 people, but not beyond. So one of the questions is, how do we capture that and share that in a more organized way? Up until recently, like we would sit around and say we should capture it, we should build a prompt library, but for those of us who aren't coders, it's really not going to happen. It might happen in a Google Sheets, but not beyond that. But the thing that's really cool and different now is as people who aren't necessarily coders, we can create a prototype through these vibe coding apps, which aren't perfect, but they can get you pretty far to the point where you can have a workable prototype that you can hand over to somebody who is actually technical and implement this. What I want to show you now very quickly is how to go from the Mentimeter survey we did to a lovable mock-up that actually works as a prompt database. I'm going to show you the steps that I take along the way, the prompts I put in, and one of the things I want you to look for is not where it's responding to what I put in, but what it's going above and beyond and doing things that I didn't even ask for. So enough of me, let me get to it. So we're coming here and ask it to extract the prompts that you put in. Extract the prompts from these images, and then I'm going to paste in the images. And then here, I've logged into Mentimeter. I'm just going to scroll down, and all I'm going to do, and this is also going to show you what it does with images, is come down here, copy these, come back over into ChatGPT, paste these images in, and I'll just simply have it extract that text from an image. Then I come over here into Lovable, and basically I just type in my prompt. So let me enter the prompt, which is, I'm going to type this and then come back. Okay, what I typed in was create a prompt database where we can share, add, and rate prompts. Follow best practices for a prompt library and include the key elements. Include prompt description, person submitting, functional area in the company, model used, and data uploaded. Include any important things that I'm missing. Also include a thumbs up button and a place for visitors to leave comments. So as you'll see, I do have a couple typos in there, which I'll leave just to show you that it doesn't make a big difference. I'm going to click, and this will probably take, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. So I'm going to pause and I'll come back when it's done. Okay. Now, when it's done, what you'll see is this is the prompt that we put in, and then it tells you what it's doing, right? So it goes through and it says, I'll create a modern prompt database, blah, blah, blah. Tells you what it's built, features for version 1. It even included things like, a search and filter, which I don't think I explicitly told it to do, but it put that in anyways. Talks about the field it's going to include, the design approach, key features implemented. One of the things that's helpful with this is it gives you a sense of how the tool is thinking, if you will. So you can go back in and based on the way it's describing it, if you then want to go back and modify something, you can use similar terms that'll just make it more likely that it will understand you. So that comes down. Then as you can see here on the right, it gives you an example of what that is. So the initial take is you can search by functional area, marketing, engineering, product management. Come down here and look at various models, level of difficulty. Again, I didn't ask it for level of difficulty, it put that in. So if we come here and we click on the customer email response generator, it opens that up and it put in the description of it, the full prompt, the area, difficulty, how many users. And again, it's making this up and putting dummy data in here. The data is created, the use case, expected output, and various tags. The person who submitted it, we asked for a thumbs up, thumbs down, and a place for comments. So one of the things we can do now is we can come back here and further modify it. In this case, what I'm going to do is going to go back and ask it to add in those specific use cases that we had talked about in the first training so that we can populate it with use cases that were actually discussed. So let me go back and do that. So in this one, what I did was I went in and I put in the prompts from the session. And you can now see it has 15 prompts in here. And if I click on one of those, it's updated the prompt and everything else. One thing I want to do however, is I don't like these. I want to make these drop downs. So all I have to do is to say in the left navigation, change the format for filters to a drop down menu select. Boom. And now it should come back in a couple minutes. And now, if you look at it, we come back and it's converted this to drop-down menus. So I can come in and look at marketing examples. I'll look at the models, needs to be updated to GPT-5, and then I'll select the difficulty at intermediate, and it comes back, there's one in that category. So boom, marketing, intermediate, usage count, and it completes all the rest. The other thing we ask it to do, just to make sure this works, is to come back here, and if we want to add a prompt, then we can simply come in and enter all the information that it created on its own. So that's an example of how it works. Once you get past this, if you want to publish it, you come right up here and you publish. And this gives you the website address. You can host it on Lovable, or probably what you would do is have your engineering team take it at this point and put it onto your own domain. If you are doing it, you could create a custom domain through Lovable, but you probably wouldn't do that. Your name and title, your image, and all the rest of those. There are ways that you can actually tie this into your OpenAI API, which for this case we haven't done. If you wanted to run the prompt, you could easily connect it so that you could run the prompt, you could modify it for your specific needs, and then run it through the API in GPT. So that's a longer demo, but you can imagine how that would work. All right, that's what I wanted to show you, how I can go from an image, extract those prompts, go from ChatGPT 5, move it over to Lovable with a couple interactions, which are really no coding at all text-based, get to a prototype, right? That you then massage it, you change the colors, you do all those other back things, but it's pretty much ready to turn over to your tech team so that they could implement it. So the key thing with Lovable is it doesn't get you all the way to production, but it's a really quick way if you're a marketer or a business person and you have an idea and you want to prototype it, to get it to a fairly sophisticated prototype that you can then have your technical team take and implement. So thank you. I hope that was useful.